G'day and welcome to this week's video. This week we're going to have a look at a bit of a review of a report that came out recently which looked at the wealth of the nation. And like many nations around the world, there is a big disparity between the top 20% and the bottom 20%. But let's go through and have a look at what being rich looks like in Australia. So the average household is just over $1 million, and that's up from about $750,000 back in the 2006 financial year. The top 20%, they control around $3.3 million worth, and obviously the rising house prices over the last decade and a bit have really contributed to the growing wealth. So it's been now our homes, the investment properties and the like that have grown substantially, and of course superannuation has definitely had an impact. There is a huge amount of compulsory savings and tax incentives to use superannuation. Unfortunately, the gap between the top and the bottom, as usual, is quite large, and the bottom 20% control less than 1% of overall household wealth, which is an average of $35,000. Looked into a few reports to say, right, where does Australia fit on the global scale? And well, we're a very fortunate country to live in. We see we're ranked number 2 based on a Credit Suisse report, and Switzerland is the only one above us. So yeah, if you're born in Australia, I think we've said before that you've won a lottery ticket if you were just born in our country. So thankfully there's a safety net, there's a lot of wealth around, which is good. But what I was keen to do with this report is sort of drill down to where the money is placed. And I mentioned earlier that a lot of it's in our home. So you can see here in pink is the owner-occupied home. So in the so there's 20% here, so there's 5 of them. This is the top quintile. You can see here that the home features a substantial amount. Now in the highest 20%, there's a lot of other financial assets. Up here, so other property, that you've got other financial assets. There's also trusts that sit within here, and superannuation is a substantially growing part. But it's these figures here, the amount that's invested into our homes, which is obviously clearly made the country more wealthy. But the point I'm trying to make here is that our homes, for the most part, are an expense. So it doesn't really matter whether our home's worth $200,000 or they're worth $10 million. Clearly the more expensive one's going to be more costly to run on an ongoing basis. But it doesn't bring in any income. And that's where I'm considering on this page, what is wealth to me? Well, obviously having good health is really important. If we don't have good health, then all the rest means nothing. Having a nice, comfortable home to live in is important. To have a shelter for our and security for our families, I think that is wealth. So that plays into the figures and the graphs we saw earlier. But for me, passive income, where you don't have to work for the income and it comes in from the form of, and it might be investment property, whether it's dividends or lease and rental payments, but the share market where it can be dividends. That is, in my mind, true wealth, because it is the income that dictates what we do and what we don't do, either for our lives and particularly in our retirement. So yeah, it's the income that pays for the bread, milk and butter, not the size of the home we live in. So what I'd recommend is everyone, save to build passive income producing assets, investments that grow their revenues and profits over the longer term. And I've got in brackets there, that's businesses for me. So if you want to know where I put my money, I save my money to invest into other businesses, not just my own here, but yeah, buying Apple, buying Google, buying Microsoft. These are extremely high quality businesses that grow their revenue and profitability at a phenomenal rate, even regardless of the size that they already are. Anyhow, I hope that's a help. Please check out the description below. There's heaps of resources there that we put in there, such as free online courses. This is about financial education. So yeah, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and thanks very much for listening. Catch you next week.